Yes, I'm ready.
And we are live. Hey, Concrete.
Can you hear me?
You are borging out pretty bad.
Can you hear me now?
You're still you're still borging.
Is that better?
Um, yeah, that seems pretty good.
I don't know what's going on, child. But you can hear me fine now, right?
Yeah. That's
Okay.
great.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on, but my connection was going in and out. But yeah. So what's up? What's going on? How's your weekend been?
It has been a lot of fun. I am running a little behind because I had to take Solomon to a birthday party. And so that was a lot of fun. This was his first time on a gaming truck. And so I guess I can get myself ready for his next birthday party, which will probably be on a gaming truck. And so, yeah, I enjoyed the weekend with Curling. We had a lot of fun.
Good.
Um, it was a really good weekend. It was a really good weekend. My son
Good.
won his championship game. So shout out to my baby.
Aw. So you had a
Girl,
good weekend all around.
yes, it was nice. It was very nice. Water Sniper wants to know, did you get snow?
Well, it was snow. There was snow in Gwinnett when I was working at my part-time job on Saturday. But on my side of town, there it was like completely clear, so it was very weird. But there was a whole bunch of snow, and it was coming down pretty heavily in Gwinnett. But once I got over to Cobb County, there was no snow, thankfully.
Okay. Okay, great. Great. Um, hmm. Yeah, so
About this topic, child. But before we get into it, well, there was something I was going to say to you. Oh, at least the gaming truck. A friend of mine, she did a gaming truck for her son's, I think, 11th birthday, and like
mhm.
it took up. It was like all of the entertainment, so she didn't have to do as much because she had the gaming truck. So at least you'll have less on your plate to do if you do a gaming truck for him, which will be pretty exciting.
Yeah, I think it will be because he's initially he didn't want to go. So I'm like,
Oh.
bro, it's a gaming truck. I think you're gonna really enjoy it. So when he got there, of course, he's like, they had silly string and all kinds of crap. And so,
Oh.
yeah, honey, he had a ball. So he was like, he didn't even want to leave. And I'm like, man, it's over anyway. So
Sounds
come
like a fun time.
it
So, what
was.
were y'all doing? Like a early Valentine's Day or
No, honey.
any other day?
No, because he will actually be down here again next weekend. So,
Y'all might as well just move to like the midway spot between here and there.
honey,
Cause
he
y'all
is not
always
leaving
together.
the A.
Y'all always together. That's dope though. Very cool.
Yeah, we had a really good weekend, and so we're gearing up for Valentine's Day, and I got my red dress, honey.
Uh
Then
oh. Uh
then set up a hair appointment and all that good stuff. So I'm really looking
oh.
forward to Valentine's Day.
We
You
don't
know,
celebrate, child, but I'll be living vicariously through you because we don't celebrate Valentine's Day.
well, I sure will snap a couple pictures and send them to you. So
How
we
nice
gonna get
of
up.
you. um, but about this topic, about us waving the white flag, which is the topic of our stream. Before we get into it, I'm sorry. Hello to everybody in the chat. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for tuning in. Hey, everybody that's down there in the chat.
Yeah, honey. So with this topic, oh, and Curlin actually did come up to fix my car, which is the main thing that was
Oh,
going on
okay.
because I had
Oh,
some
look at you.
trouble.
That's a good man. He coming all the way down there to fix his baby car. Jeez.
Yes,
How
honey.
sweet of him. That's dope.
Yeah,
Um,
honey, somebody special over here, child.
yeah, but we're talking about us waving. Well, we're talking. The topic of today's stream is waving the white flag. So, before we get too deep off into it, I want to just kind of talk about this from the standpoint of the gender war. So,
Yeah.
as we know, there has been a long-standing gender war between Black men and Black women. It's been ongoing for quite some time. Probably dates back to before I was born. But in reference to it, myself and Danielle, we were talking about, the gender war ending and basically signs that it's ending and how we know if it's ending and you know basically what would be the actual I guess not takeaways, but what each side basically are hoping to accomplish within the gender war. So basically, we're talking about us as Black women, myself and Danielle, and some other Black women that have any interest in continuing the gender war, kind of, waving the white flag and yielding or surrendering and saying, okay, enough of this. Where do we go from here? We've had enough fighting and we want to move past this. So we're waving the white flag in hopes of calling a truce, in hopes of developing a treaty, moving past all of the divisive, negative, toxic conversations that we're having that don't seem to really be getting us anywhere.
Girl,
You want to add
girl.
on to that, Danny?
Yeah, because I want to, well, it's so much to cover within this. And it's like, first of all, we really want to identify what a gender war looks like with Black women and Black men. We want to identify what it looks like. And so what has the gender war giving us? What has been the results of this gender war? What do you think about that? Concrete? Okay, she may have to come out and come back in. But some things that I've noticed from the gender war. Okay, there you go.
You know what? I don't know what's going on with my phone, but for some reason I'm having a bad connection in my kitchen, and I'm trying to finish my Sunday dinner. So let me answer your question. What part of it? I mean, I guess you didn't pose it as a question. So what part of it were you asking me about? What part of what you just said did you want me to respond to?
Okay, what does a gender war look like to you?
I mean, it looks like what we've been seeing infighting, versus the other. It looks like two sides of the two opposite sides of the coin with their own agenda, pushing it without any care or concern for the other side. It looks like two sides of one coin being concerned about their own objective and doing whatever it takes to meet that objective, and saying, screw the other side, essentially.
Right. Some of the things that it would look like to me is no protection from our race of men. We trash each other pretty bad in the media. The out of wedlock birth rate is, to me, that's a spoil of the gender war. Um, we have a lot of men marrying out, which is
Hmm.
another result of this gender war.
Absolutely.
Um, yeah, and it's crazy because it's like if you've never come to social media, and especially in this type of space, then it's like when you come to this type of space and you start to see the things that the people are talking about and what they're saying about Black women, it's like, holy shit, we're in trouble. We're really in trouble.
You
And I
know, that's a good point. And I see Michael some Sundar, I'm probably butchering his
Sam
name, but he
Thunder,
said that Sam Sunder said that Black women started the gender war. And you know what? I don't want to even. I won't object to that. I don't. I mean, to be completely honest, I don't even care who started it. If you feel like Black women started it, we are here, as Black women saying that we're waving the white flag. So if we started it, I feel like it's only right for us to make the first move in an effort to end it. So we are saying as Black women that we're waving the white flag. We want a truce. We want to, be able to move forward. We want to, develop a treaty filled with actionable items in order for us to come back together as a people. So, I won't object to that. I'm not going to go back and forth with you regarding who I feel started it or how it started or where, because at this point, that's really a moot point. Like it doesn't even matter. We're here. How do we, move forward?
Concrete, do you think, because what I'm hearing from most men in this space, they're saying that it is absolutely too late. There's nothing that can be done to reverse the however long the programming has been going on. There's nothing to reverse that. There's not anything to reverse the culture of between Black men and Black women. What do you think about that?
Me personally, I hope that it's not too late. I don't think that all Black men feel like it's too late. I've heard Black men say that basically, and that's another question that I had, is that the end result that they wanted to see from this is Black women coming to the table in an effort to allow Black men to be heard, to listen to what they have to say in order to take action. So if that is the case, then that means that there is still some hope. However, if there are men that believe that it's too little too late, that we've come too far, that we too much damage has been done, that they just want absolutely nothing to do with Black women because of all the damage that's been done, then I mean, I won't beg them to stay. I'm not going to plead with them to stay. If they feel like that, and they already have one foot out the door, then I understand that, and there's nothing that I can do in that case. I won't plead with you or try to convince you to stay.
Yeah, but the only thing is that I notice is that our women are not willing to compete for our men. We are not willing to do the basic things. Now, some of the basic things, like speaking and smiling, Black men are saying that they've noticed an increase um, in those things happening from our women. But now I'll tell you what I've noticed from Black men and what I'm starting to notice from Black men. You
Mm-hmm.
remember at a point where a man didn't have, you
Mm-hmm.
do? Okay.
Yeah.
You remember a point where a man didn't have a problem with holding the door for you. A
Mm-hmm.
man didn't have a problem if you were in a grocery store and you couldn't reach something. A man would grab it for you and it wasn't a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you were missing 8 cents at a store and a man was behind you, he'd tell you it was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you were on the side of the road, men would stop to try to help you.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'm starting to see a decrease in stuff like that.
Well,
And
I agree. I am starting to see a decrease. However, I want to go back to one point that you made. I'm not telling Black women to compete, because I'm not telling Black women to compete with other women, because of my personal beliefs. If a man has made up in his mind that he wants to, date outside the race, or he is no longer attracted to Black women, I don't think that the answer is for Black women um, to put themselves in a position to compete for him. I am of the mindset that if he wants to go, let him go. So I'm not telling Black women to compete, but I do think that there are some base level things that us as Black women, should be working on, and those things being our femininity and displaying it, whether it be smiling, whether it be being courteous, whether it be taking the chip off of our shoulder, whether it be not being proud to display this resting bee face that we proudly talk about, and are so proud of, and just basically associate that as a part of our character. So I do think that there are some base level things that we as Black women should be doing, but I just don't think that competing so that men won't leave the race is one of those things that I would add to the list.
I don't know if I can say that I necessarily agree with that, because this is the thing that I'm looking at. Because we as women generally want high level men, or like men that make a lot of money, men that have their shit together, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can't be a 300-pound daddy with a bad attitude and then looking for somebody to do something for you when it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, that's not what I'm implying.
Okay.
I'm strictly, of course, self-care is absolutely important. And I'm not implying that Black women shouldn't be doing the base level things. I'm saying if a man is saying, I'm leaving the race for, women of another persuasion, I don't think that it is a Black woman's responsibility to put herself in a position to where she's competing to show him that,
Okay.
it's good over here. You don't have to go over there. But yes, absolutely. Those base level, when I say base level, I am including taking care of yourself. Self-care is a huge part of that. Not having a negative attitude or negative outlook, not, being a bitch, not, being a horrible person to live with and or be around, So I am talking about those things when I say base level. But no, of course, you should be taking care of yourself. Your physical health is absolutely included in base level things.
Right. To me it's kind of like when a woman takes care of herself, when she really does the self-care, in a certain sense, to me, that's competing. Because a lot of the things that men want from our women, like our women don't really practice self-care the way I've seen other races of women practice. And so, and I'm talking about a subsection of our women too. You know what I'm saying? Um, but then another question kind of plagues me. The men are saying, even at a point where a woman looks good, she's got her shit together, um the mentality, they're saying that the mentalities are the same with the ghetto girl and the college educated chick. They're saying that these are the same people. What do you think about that? The
Um, I've
mentality wise.
I've heard that said. I think that there are some things that are pretty inherent to the culture, so they permeate and transcend classes. So I understand that, and I don't disagree with that. Um, I can't disagree with that. I mean, I think that there are some things that we've normalized in our culture, and whether you're a lawyer or a CNA, no knock against CNAs, there are some behavioral traits that are typical amongst Black women.
Yeah, and our men are they really sound fed up. So some of the things that you hear from our men, um honey, the list goes on. We're
Well,
mean, we're hateful, they don't like us, they
so
despise us, we're single mothers,
what do
we're
you think?
bitches, we're hoes. It's the list goes on and on.
Right, and I agree. They do appear to be fed up. So, talking about us waving the white flag, what do you think the list of actionable items that, Black women would need to address in order for there to be a truce, in order for us to make amends, in order for us to, capitulate or, surrender and say, okay, we are, prepared to move forward and take the steps to, progress as, one race with Black men and Black women included? What do you think would have Black women would need to address?
For the first part of it is healing trauma. Healing trauma. A lot of us have experienced a lot of trauma that we've never had healed before. A lot of our trauma has gone untreated. And so a lot of issues come from a low self-esteem. If you've had if you have 5 kids by 5 men, that's some self-esteem shit going on with you. That's a lot of issues that you haven't taken care of, that it's like when you get to a certain point, you're expecting somebody to come bail you out. And we've had men that's bailed them out. I'm not going to sit here in front. I had a stepdad. Now, my mom only had me, but at the same time, my mom was a single mom. My mom did a lot of stuff. So, that's one thing is the self-esteem issues are ridiculous within our community. And then the second thing to me is accountability. Now, if I've gotten to a point where I've had these kids, my attitude is horrific. I feel like I'm owed something, and I feel like we have entitlement issues like a motherfucker. Like we're not accountable because it's always somebody that we want to put the blame off on. And then, it's a lot of men that say, okay, well, I ain't have kids with a bunch of women. I have my shit together. Should I go and recreate babies with a single mother? Should I go and create a legacy with a single mother? And I think we don't really give credence to legacies anymore. You know what I mean?
I agree. But, somebody just said something, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but somebody it's related to the point you just made. Somebody just said something in the chat, and they said, take responsibility for the actions of your grandmothers and your grandmother. It does seem to, there seems to be a notion that Black women, I myself wasn't responsible for for the actions of my mother and my grandmother, but it does seem that there is a common belief or notion that our feet should be held to the fire for actions or inactions that we weren't even around for.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
To be honest with you, at a point, I felt like it was very, very unfair because I was not around for to usher in feminism. I didn't have anything to do with it. Now I'm not going to sit up here and lie and say that I haven't upheld some of the fuckery. I definitely have. A lot of these things that the men accuse us of, I am guilty of some of those things, but I don't really understand how. I guess the undoing would be to change some of the laws, but it's kind of like when people say that they didn't do it and so they don't have a responsibility. Like, okay, so you'll take this space for example. Men are saying, okay, well, I didn't fuck up the community. I never sold drugs. I went and got my education. I'm not in a whole bunch of debt. I did right for the most part. I didn't go get any kids. I did what I was supposed to do. And it's like, if the men are saying that they did what they were supposed to do and they didn't have they didn't destroy the community, why should they be responsible for fixing it? Then it's like, well, with the laws and stuff, with feminism and stuff like that, I didn't have anything to do with it.
True. Good point.
at some point, at some point, um, we're not really in a position to win here. So it's
Yeah.
almost like we really don't have a choice but to wave the white flag.
Now, you bring about a good point, and I think that I often hear, the same sentiments that, black men saying they didn't screw up the community. Well, neither did I, but I also think that it's a good point that in reference to the laws that work against our men, um, how we should, stand in support of changing those laws. I am a firm believer that we absolutely should stand in support of changing those laws, but I do not believe that it is the Black woman's responsibility to lead the charge. I think that if the Black woman stood up to lead the charge in order to change laws to aid our men, that it is more, that would be applicable to a matriarchy. I think that, we need the men to lead the charge. And absolutely, once they take the steps to do that, we should give them all the support that they need, supporting financially, physically, any way in which we can. We definitely should stand up to support them, but I don't think that it is our responsibility to, lead the charge per se.
Okay, so if you have 30, I think it was like 33 or 30% of the men that are dating out, right?
Yeah, like 29% or something, close to 30%, yes.
Right. If they're saying that 30% of the men are dating out, and this number is increasing, we know this number is increasing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who is going to go and fight for a community that they don't like? Okay, so
Well,
this is another thing that we're going to have to dive into, and that's the Pookie and Ray Ray versus the good guy, so to speak, because men are saying that most of the women have babies with a small number of men. I think the stats show that these men are going to lead shit.
Well, when you say that, though, in relation to lobbying for laws to be changed, no matter who they lay down with, these laws affect them. So, even those men who have decided to exit the community and leave the community, they're impact. White men are impacted by these laws. So it would still behoove them to take an interest and to take a leading role in, exacting change as it relates to some of these laws that affect them. So
You know what? To me, it's like the men who are responsible for destroying it I don't think they care. I honestly don't think they care. I think
that's
that
a good point.
I think that being that women have benefited the most from a lot of these things, we've benefited a lot. Being that we've benefited the most from it, it's kind of like, do you continue to fight for men who don't want you?
Well, we're not fighting for it. It's the status quo, though. I mean, this is how it is. We don't have to fight for it. It is what it is. This is the status quo. So we don't even have to put up a fight. Things will stay the same if we do nothing. But I still, even in understanding that, the hood guy has no interest in making any changes for the community because he benefits from the dysfunction, I still feel like it is the role, that the thinking man, that the men that are leaders within our community, that the men with the warrior spirits, the men with the strength and the power, that that it falls on them to lead the charge in relation to exacting change that impacts them. Because, like I said, no matter where they go, they can't escape. Specifically the laws that are not in their favor.
Yeah. Edward Anderson just commented and he said there are no Black male leaders in the community. And sadly enough, I'd have to agree.
Yeah.
They put rappers as our leaders and shit now. rappers and fucking clowns as the people who should be spokesmen for Black people, which
Mm-hmm.
I think is horrid to do. And
Yep.
so when you don't have men leading the charge, then at some point it's definitely going to have to be up to the women. But you
That's
know,
how
the
we got where
women,
we are. Like that's more matriarchy. I mean, the
you know
women,
what
we don't
though?
want the women leading.
But at some point, somebody has to do something. And if the men are saying, you know what, this is y'all shit, and I'm talking about
Mm-mm.
the top of our food chain. The tops of our food chain says, you know what, this ain't got shit to do with me. I ain't had nothing to do with this. This is y'all shit. You need to fix it.
You
You
know
need
what? I'm
to
gonna
figure it
say something that's not popular. In
out.
order, like Black women have lost respect for the Black man for whatever reason. They certainly won't gain that respect back by expecting Black women to step up in roles of leadership, positions of leadership, and leading the charge on exacting change. Black women are going to continue to feel as though they can keep their foot on the Black man's neck. They can disrespect him. They can
Mhm.
weaponize the government. That they can be agents of white supremacy because they have no respect for the Black man. And I mean, it just, there's no way to change the dynamic if Black women take the lead on this.
Okay, Edward said I was taking what he was saying out of context.
Oh,
Well, Edward, I apologize. So I'll just say that is my own thought process when you say there are no black male leaders, because in a certain sense, I do believe that there aren't black male leaders, not as a collective, but I think that we as Black people do kind of look for somebody as a go-to in sense.
mm-hmm. I
So
agree.
um, I apologize for taking your comment out of context, but so I'll put it in my own context for me, and I'll say that I actually believe there aren't any black male leaders in a sense.
Yeah, we have a lack of Black male leaders, but and Black people, for whatever reason, Black people will sit on their they will sit on their tails until someone comes to lead and guide and direct them. Black people have a messiah, not a messiah complex, but they're
Mhm.
seeking a messiah or a savior,
Yes.
someone to come and save them and lead them, as opposed to standing up and looking around and seeing what's going on and taking action. I mean, we have an issue with that. That's why people so firmly believe it. I mean, I don't want to get off into religion, but that's why people are, that's why Black people can be religious zealots, because we feel like, oh, there's hope if I can believe that somebody's going to come save me. So yeah, I agree that there's a lack of leadership, but I don't know. I agree that there's a lack of leadership in the Black community.
And so David Monroe makes a very good point. Black men aren't seeking our respect anymore. They smoke. They want all the smoke. You say something, what's up? And then it's like, what does not ending the gender war look like? What does that look like? If the gender war never ends.
Not ending the gender war. To me, what not ending the gender war looks like is, have you ever seen like the movie The Book of Eli?
Yes.
Like that's what not ending the gender war looks like to me. Like I mean, like that when like that's how bleak the future looks to me for my legacy, my children's children, and my family. If we don't do something to end the gender war, to exact change, to unite, to move past the division, then that's what the outlook looks like to me.
You know what's crazy to me? It's like if the gender war, and the thing to me is Black women aren't really in a position to start a war, but Black women actually, I've talked to somebody, and Black women are like, I talked to a couple of Black women about this over the weekend and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like some of these motherfuckers think they can go to war. Like, do you really? Oh,
That's funny.
yeah.
Black women, Black women think they
Oh,
tough, so I'm not
girl.
surprised. Black women think they tough. They think they can, like, let me tell you something. Black women, it will be a tiny 5'1" something, think that she can, whoop a 6'4", 340-pound man. Like, black women think that they're tough. Like, I mean, they're yeah. So I'm not surprised by that. But you know what I get when I talk about it is indifference. Like, I don't, and I think that I don't know if it's indifference because they're in denial, or they just aren't realizing the scope of things, because the indifference that I get is from women who, it's not women who take part in these types of conversations. And I can say for myself, before I got on YouTube and different social media platforms where I was having these discussions, I lived in my own bubble, and I didn't realize how fed up Black men are. And I didn't realize the scope and the magnitude of what they have to endure either. So
I was like, they fucking crazy. Ain't nobody that did nothing to them. I was like, now don't get me wrong. I've had my baby out of wedlock and everything, right? And so I'm like, shit, I ain't did nothing to none of these. What's going on? What's the problem? What's wrong with them? And
because you were looking at it like that was a personal, choice that does not affect the whole of Black men.
Yes, a lot of men think that we know exactly what it is that we're doing as it pertains to this gender war. We know we're being disrespectful. We know we're being bitches. We know we're being assholes. We know we're getting these kids to trap these men. We know a lot of stuff that we're doing, but we're choosing to ignore what it is that we're doing, and instead of taking accountability for the shit, we look to point to them. And so,
well, I mean, I think I would agree that Black women, I mean, you're a grown woman. You're 30 plus, you're grown, you've lived life, you're paying bills, you own your own. You have to understand that, calling this man out of his name is being disrespectful. Calling the police because, he cheated and the car is in your name, even though he pays for it, and weaponizing them against him, or whatever the situation might be, that you have to understand the magnitude of your actions. And I'm not buying that Black women don't understand that, but I don't know if they see it on a grand scale. I don't know if they're looking at it on a macro level and realizing that, this isn't just your situation with Pookie or Daquan. Like, this is a, mass issue, throughout our country. And a lot of men are dealing with it, and a lot of men are fed up, and a lot of men are, finally speaking up for themselves and, seeking their own happiness and putting it before, any and everything. And I don't blame them.
Yeah. I definitely don't think that we're looking at it on a grand scale at all. And it's interesting because the men they know what they're doing. These motherfuckers know and I'm saying, like, collectively, it's like, until you start looking at social media and you're seeing that, okay, every time a Black woman does some fuck shit, that shit goes viral now. I want to say something about the programming and what's being put in our face, because now it is, every time a Black woman does something crazy, it like I said, it goes viral, and it goes viral fast. And it's like, then you turn on the TV and you see all these crazy ass shows. You got the Housewives and Love and Hip Hop, Bad Girls Club, and it's like, well, goddamn.
And we talk about.
Go ahead.
We talk about Black people, being viewed as a monolith, but Black women are most certainly viewed as a monolith. So when we see the Housewives, when we see Black ratchet chicks fighting in Dave and Buster's or Cracker Barrel or wherever, and you see Black women fighting over weave, or getting jumped on in a beauty supply store and then going back and patronizing that same business. It's a reflection of me, and that is that is why I take such a vested interest in trying to, have conversations and dialogue with Black women and trying to speak to them in a manner in which they can understand, but trying to help them to understand the seriousness of, the what we're facing.
Yeah, yeah, it's freaking depressing to me. Like, I came in,
It is. It's sad.
I was a little enthusiastic about this topic. And then as I started to kind of dive off into it myself, I was like, this is fucking sad. This
It
is depressing
is.
shit.
You're right. And
And
I didn't realize it either. Mostly because it makes me feel like the future is so bleak for us. And that scares me.
honey,
I mean, and it's not me personally because I'm good. But I think like, I'm one of those people. I think like I'm a legacy builder. I think about, generations to come. So I'm not talking about me when I talk about the impact of all of this, because I don't have any real concerns about it affecting me personally. But, long term, it could potentially affect my offspring.
honey, from the looks of it will potential, it probably will. From the
Right.
looks of, because right now, this is soft. This is soft. Once you start to see, I think we're headed toward an economic crisis right now. I could be wrong, but I think we are. Um, if we're headed toward an economic crisis, then plus the Black men are leaving. Plus, there's no accountability from the women. Plus the hood nigga to take care of the community.
Hmm.
What is to become of it? And it's the thought process scares the shit out of me because I have a Black son.
Hmm.
It's just crazy to me. It is crazy to
Well,
me.
you know what? My fiance often says that, Black people have to learn the hard way. That Black people, he tells me that, I'm an optimist, that I'm crazy for being so wildly optimistic and thinking that I could reach them by talking to them, because he feels like Black people, have to hit rock bottom. Black people, you got to hit them where it hurts in order for them to take heed. And so I say that to say that maybe Black women, Black people won't get it until the situation is, irreparable. Until we have 50% of our men dating out, and, we are scraping the bottom of the barrel to find a decent Black man. You know what I mean? Like, maybe it has to get that dire for Black women to realize the magnitude, and, for us to, make changes that would, that would, um, try to get things back on the right track.
Yeah. So, are you ready to drop this link, honey?
Yeah, let's drop it and see what the people have to say.
Okay. And just a couple of rules, since this didn't seem to be clear the last time. Don't get your ass up on here and disrespect each other. Um, we didn't correct the problem with Roger and Milla in time. And so, we just want to make sure that everybody knows to be respectful of each other. And yeah, where your ass.
And right, and to be completely honest, it's like we're all grown adults. I mean, that wasn't the first time that we heard shots taken on the show. I mean, we do it like it is what it is. But let's not get into like the name calling and back and forth, because we want it to be a respectful dialogue. I did say something and address it once I caught it, but I'm usually multitasking, and Danny is also, doing other things in addition to, streaming.
No,
So
I heard it. I heard it, and I was just
okay,
like, oh, it's just Mel and Roger. They'll be good. They
yeah.
good, and I didn't think anything of it because I thought they had a rapport. So I
Mm-hmm.
didn't address it on the show
Yeah.
at the time, but I did go to Roger's platform, and I apologized to Roger because and to be honest, I didn't know he felt the way about it that he did. So
Yeah.
shout out to Roger. But yeah,
Yeah, Roger is always supporting, and Mela too. But let's just keep it respectful, people. We're adults, and we know how to talk to each other respectfully, without taking it there. So let's do that.
Okay. And I'm gonna drop this link up in here, child. Let's see what we got. But honey, I just it worries the shit out of me. And it's one of those things that I start to worry a little bit more and more about, because the men are you got the pump and dump culture, which is that growing faster and faster by the minute. Dating cultures, pickup artists, all of
Now, to
these things are
me,
growing
yeah,
faster by the minute.
they are. And the thing is, when you think about, we do have a hookup culture. When you think about the fact that women are now taking on the same mindset that the men are, that is like even more
Yes,
dangerous. I think that they're going
yes.
about it all wrong. But I always find it very interesting that the same people who talk about, the horrible, deplorable state of the Black community also, on the other hand, are promoting like this pump and dump culture and things that will further impact the Black community and further in a negative way. So I just find that interesting.
So I want to welcome to the panel Pablo Freshgabar, Edward Anderson, Vix G, and Complex Design. What's up, guys? How y'all doing?
Hey, brothers.
Hey,
Hey,
ladies,
how
how
you
you guys doing?
Hi.